We are the Liberty Intelligence Organization Network. And this is our news recap show. I am your host. You can call me the Captain. I'm going to try to make this video short. Again, this is really another update in the Boston bombing incident. Now, if you've been following, again, I've gotten a lot of views off of this right away. But what I want to talk about is some of the updated stuff. And again, I've added lots of links just really to reiterate to people how false flag attacks work, what to look out for in false flag attacks. And it's because of all this that Truthers and Liberty Movement, we're able to watch what's happening right now and say, this is a script. Now, what kind of a script are they going to follow with it? And again, we pointed out they're going to try to blame Patriots, and again, that's what they tried to do right off the bat. It's Patriots Day, it's Patriots Day. They kept reminding us, and they had the news media saying, oh, it's probably right-wing extremists, it's probably this, oh, Tea Party upset about tax day. They tried to spin it that way, but because people had woken up, people are starting to wake up like crazy right now, and I know that offhand, just from being on the street at my job when I talk to people are waking up like crazy. So they know that since people are waking up, they're not able to spin the story the way they initially intended. So they've had to skew it. Now, yesterday they were supposed to release photos and video footage, and again, that was the same exact moment that InfoWars uploaded a video or uploaded an article after they had found suspects, possible suspicious activity in photos and videos that were of what was going on up there. Now, then after InfoWars uploaded that, before the FBI did their press conference, the FBI said, they waited a whole day. They were going to release these photos yesterday, but then InfoWars did it, and then all of a sudden they waited a whole day. Now, the photos they released today are not. To be honest with you, the guys don't look suspicious in the videos. They just look like regular people walking down the street. They don't look suspicious at all. And again, my problem with it is, I have a number of problems with it, but my main problem with it is the photos and the videos they showed us only seem to be from one camera. So that's fishy. They were supposed to be going over tons of Facebook pictures, tons of MySpace pictures, tons of, Twitters, tons of tweets, tons of Facebook posts. They were supposed to be going over all this stuff. And the only thing they bring to us are photos and video from one, and they're really not photos, they're still images from the video. So really they brought us one video of two guys walking down the street. And they took some stills from that and said they're photographs. So now another problem I have with this is we know the FBI's connection with terrorism. We know that they tend to be involved on the ground level with the terrorists. They tend to be working with, having taught, or allowing to do. So that's fishy. And again, I'm just trying to do this update. It's tons of information. I'm trying to piece it all together as I go. In a little bit, as I want to mention, I uploaded a bunch of links. After I uploaded the videos, I added links to the more information area about a number of things. Basically, some of the stuff just to reiterate the breakdown of recent terror attacks. So I encourage people to go ahead and look at all that stuff, because if you dissect all that stuff, what's happening now makes a lot more sense. You're able to figure it out. You're able to understand it. And again, that's what it was. For me, it was me watching the press coverage, and then I came to the same conclusion that other Liberty Truthers were starting to come to. And again, it just shows you that once you start figuring this all out, it's easy to see all over the place. Once you know the MO, once you know the agenda, once you know how they get away with things. So I did that, and again, they tried to skew it just like we said they would. They tried to blame Patriots right off the bat. But they didn't get a chance to do that because, again, the Truthers, the Liberty Movement, we got out there and we told people, hey, they're going to try to blame us for this, so don't believe them when they do that. So they had to change their story, and they didn't know what to change it to. And again, we could see that they were going to try to blame it on us. So, and we can go all the way back to the Family Guy episode, which really foreshadowed these events. The title of that episode was something like Al-Qaeda in a cowboy hat or something, which is trying to connect Al-Qaeda terrorism with patriot movements or with Americans. Then you had CNN and all these other people blaming, oh, it's right-wing extremists, it's right-wing extremists, Patriot Day, Patriot Day, Patriot Day. You had all this stuff, the tax party or tax day, oh, it must be the Tea Party. You know, they tried to go with that agenda, but they couldn't because we'd already broken it. So now they're at a loss. They don't know what to do at this point. The New World Order is like, whoa, what are we going to do? How are we going to spin it? So they uploaded this. They had the FBI do this release of these two guys walking down the street. Personally, I don't think they look suspicious at all. And one of them doesn't even have a black backpack. You know, they're supposed to have black backpacks. Those are supposed to been what the bombs were in, black backpacks. One of the guys has like a white backpack. So I mean, they're struggling to know what to do, so they're just lie, one after the other. So in addition to that, I want to mention that they have had press conferences. Every single FBI press conference, or every press conference that's been related to these events, going all the way back to the initial fire department press conference a few hours after the bombs went off. I've watched, I think, all of them, and every single time, there's an InfoWars reporter that's been able to get into all these press conferences. Dan Bedandi over at Infowars.com is he's their East Coast reporter. He's been able to get into the press conferences, and you know, he's a tough guy. He's a big guy. He's outspoken, so he's able to get up there and ask questions, and he asks real questions because, like I said, what these guys don't realize is the news media, the mainstream news media, tends to be good at reporting what they're told to report. Alternative media, we're investigating. We're not waiting for the FBI to tell us stuff. We're going to go ahead and look at the photographs ourselves and see if we can find something suspicious, because we don't necessarily trust what they're going to tell us. So we got to investigate for ourselves. And again, that's what I always focus on people doing. So since he's a real guy that investigates for himself, and we have real information that the FBI is denying exists. They're denying that the drills happened, that these bomb drills, which were, you know, they're at the place with, you know, this is just a drill, this is just a drill. They were announcing this is just a drill, you know. So it's blatant lies, and because Dan Bedandi's up there at every single press conference asking real questions, literally they shut the press conferences down when he asked the questions, because other reporters ask follow-up questions, because other reporters are saying, wait a minute, that sounds legitimate, that sounds real. So then the FBI is like, we can't talk about this anymore, and they all shuffle away and shut the whole press conference down. So it's getting real. You know, that's just another, you know, the strangeness of all of this. I mean, it really shows how important this is. Now, I also want to talk about, to sort of point out another aspect of false flag attacks. Now, initially after the false flag attacks of 9/11, there was the anthrax scare, where, oh, public officials are being sent letters with anthrax in them. And again, that was probably, looking back on it, that was a way for them to say, see, the terrorists are after us too, so we're not responsible because they've sent anthrax to us. And again, that's sort of what this ricin attack stuff is. You know, right after this bombing, all of a sudden, oh, Barack Obama, somebody sent a letter with ricin, which is a poison. Somebody sent a letter with ricin to him, and again, maybe somebody within the government sent it to him. You know, maybe that's part of the cover-up. It's them being able to say, see, we're victims too. They say, see, somebody bombed you, civilians, but then they sent us poison letters. So we're not responsible. We wouldn't do that. You know, so it helps them maintain the innocence. You know, don't look at us. We're not suspects. We would never perform a false flag attack. Even though it's pretty obvious it was a false flag attack. We know something was up here. This was too timely and fit in too much with their agenda for this to not be a false flag attack. And again, it has all the aspects of it. A drill going on simultaneously, a big public event where they're able to take all the news coverage. Again, look at that. There was an explosion in the Texas refinery or Texas factory. The whole world didn't stop. Not every news channel, you know, they didn't cut off normal programming to show us the coverage of the Texas thing. But this bombing up in Boston, the Sandy Hook school shooting, the 7/7 London thing, the Madrid bombing, 9/11, they shut down the world and focus everyone's attention on these events. So, and again, there have been other terrorist attacks, there have been other shootings, there have been other events, but they don't shut the whole world down to focus on them. But when they do shut the whole world down to focus on an event, that's another MO of it being a false flag, because they want everyone to see it. They want to create a collective memory of the event. So all that being said, I'm just trying to keep people up to date with understanding this false flag stuff and really looking at this. And as I get more information, as we learn more, and really analyzing these press conferences, because they're blatantly lying. And they're really running out. They don't know what to say anymore. And again, we can harken back to Press Secretary Gibbs not knowing what to do when they were asking him about drones. I mean, and the Christopher Dorner stuff. You know, we burnt the cabin. You know, let's burn this mother effer down. We didn't burn the cabin down. No, we didn't do that. So again, there was no drill. Warning: this is just a drill. This is just a drill. So you guys were performing a bomb drill? No, there was no drill. What are you talking about? There's no drill. And again, this is how absurd things are becoming. So final notes here, really just a conclusion. Let me do a time check. Yeah, final notes here. I'm going to put in a bunch of links here at the bottom. I encourage people to go check them out. Just get aware of this. And the only reason that it's been big InfoWars, tons of InfoWars links right now, is basically because they're the only outlet that's really covering what's happening. They're really covering the truth, as opposed to just telling us what the government's telling us. You know, I don't need to watch Fox when I can watch C-SPAN tell me the press conference, because all Fox is going to do is tell me what the press conference said. And Fox is a secondary source in this investigation. C-SPAN would offer me a primary source, the actual footage of a press conference as it's happening. That's a primary source. Fox analyzing the press conference, or even linking to the press conference with Overtalk, is a secondary source. You know, so. And they spin everything. That's the problem you get. So InfoWars is the only really credible source that we're able to look at right at this moment for this information. Because again, if the Boston Police Department was heading the investigation, I would have more faith in them giving me real answers than I do with the Federal Bureau of Investigations. But since the FBI has taken over the investigation, I don't trust anything they're going to tell us. And I'm pretty sure that a majority of the people within the United States and without the United States agree. The FBI is not a credible source for this. They're actually one of the most likely suspects. So, or people within the organization of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They're the most likely suspects for what occurred. So I encourage other people who investigate, and really that's the thing, is the FBI thinks they have sole control over the evidence at this moment, but what they got to realize is because people are so untrustworthy right now of them, we're investigating for ourselves, and not just InfoWars, not just me, the Liberty Intelligence Organization Network guy. Anyone who's a truther, anyone who's a liberty person, just about every single person who is awake is investigating this, and we're finding our own evidence, so they don't have the monopoly on evidence anymore, where they can, just like in 9/11, they had the monopoly on the evidence. They could spin it however they wanted, because they controlled what they showed us. Now, since everyone's investigating this, there's people finding out evidence that they aren't able to suppress. And that's their biggest problem right now, is because they can't suppress information. We're able to get it out there and formulate a more accurate understanding of what went down. So all that being said, let me do a quick moment of silence and brainstorm, make sure I got everything I can think about. And again, sorry if it's just sporadic and I jump between topics and different information, but it is, it's sort of still breaking all this information. Again, this is just about an hour after the press conference, after the FBI's press conference. So. And I've uploaded a lot of links that I haven't necessarily had time to cover, so I'm trying to make sure I went over everything. And again, some of the links I uploaded, and I'm not exactly sure what I've already went over in my prior videos, so I don't want to be too repetitive here. But let me just go over some of these headlines before I end it entirely. I'll go over all the headlines I had in my notes from since this all started. So, Boston Police Department plans to practice for an event that really happens instead. Boston Marathon bombing. Family Guy predicts Boston bombing. Authorities must have known. The bomb squads knew something was coming. Chris Matthews suggests patriots responsible for bombing. FBI history of false flags. National Guard to occupy Boston. Witness heard police announcing the bombing was part of their drill. Michael Moore blames patriots for bombing. Family Guy episode edited after tragedy. Again, the Family Guy episode has been pulled now. CNN blames right-wing extremists. Boston runners were warned. Fox pulls Family Guy episode. More attacks on right. NWO agenda unfolding. Actors blame gun culture for bombings. And then I got a bunch of stuff about 7/7, the 9/11, the mock terror drills that became real. And again, the recent stuff that I just went over about the photographs. Boston authorities seem to be covering up truth. Mainstream news is spinning events. The propaganda matrix is breaking down, is what I put in my notes, because they can't keep the lies straight anymore. People are waking up. People know the truth, and because of truthers and all people out there who are doing stuff like I do, and really I'm just doing what InfoWars does. Just get out there, start analyzing information, and then start talking about it, because if a million voices, if a million people made YouTube channels devoted to talking about the truth, the New World Order would realize what type of power liberty has. They would say, wait a minute, look at all these people. We cannot control this. We can't stop these people. And that's the way we got to get it. A lot of people think we can't stop the New World Order. No, they can't stop us from stopping them. So get on the ball, get active, and especially right now, because this is it. If people don't see it now, what is this? Every 10 years now, we're going to have a big terror attack that goes crazy like this. And this wasn't even big. Like, this wasn't 9/11 big, but they're making it out to be huge in the media. So it's the way it's spun that really matters. And people got to understand that the New World Order wanted to use this to blame the Patriots and try to start some sort of conflict here. But because we talked about it before they were able to do it, they were unable to. Now we got to figure out how the agenda is going to play out from here. But we always got to be on the lookout, because they do want to find a way to blame patriots. They got to try to find a way to blame all patriot groups and stuff like that to kick off their real big takeover. So, all that being said, I hope this keeps people up to date with what's going on up there. And again, look at the links for yourself. Try to keep up with it and try to understand that the spinning that the mainstream media is giving you is not the truth. They are severely spinning the story because the FBI is now taking control of the investigation, and they're just going to tell us blatant lies to fulfill their agenda, which is the New World Order agenda of takeover, of global conquest. I think that's all I got to cover. I want to thank everyone for tuning in at the moment, and hopefully there will be continuing coverage, or I will have more future uploads of this, even though I got a bunch of other special reports I want to get to. It seems this is going to be the big topic for at least the next week, maybe the next 2 weeks. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and as always, I want to remind everybody to stay safe, to stay strong, to stay free, and to stay informed.